Hey guys, Sam from Baller Barbecue here. This week I'm out of town visiting my parents and I've brought down my Charmate Lawson smoker and I'm going to cook them up some ribs with a Raptor Naturals blazing Tex-Mex rub. So let's get into it. Alright, so here I've got my first rack of ribs. I'm going to do 2 racks today. But you can see this first one's got a lot of fat on it. Got these little flappy ends on there that I'll just square off, and it's still got this skirt on there as well, so I'll just take a knife and I'll just cut that off. Now this is a really nice bit of meat. If you do want to use it, feel free, but today I'm just going to throw that out. And I'm just going to take a couple of ribs off each end as well, just because these are really small ribs and any meat there is just going to dry out and probably burn anyway. I just remove a little bit of this hard fat, not too much. I'm not going to trim it up too much today, and I'll just cut it through there. Just take that end bit off. It's pretty good meat, but as I say, it's just going to dry up and not be too good. Just check for little splinters of bone on there. It's looking alright. Still quite a bit of fat on here, but I'm going to leave that on there as well. Just any really big hard bits of fat we'll trim off. All this stuff here will just render nicely and kind of soak into the meat, give it more flavour. Alright, so that's looking pretty good there. So now what I need to do is try and remove this membrane. Removing that's just going to help make these ribs super tender. So just with the knife, just try and lift up a corner. Once we got a corner up, we can kind of pull the whole thing off, but it can be a little bit fiddly. Just carefully work away at it. Start at one corner and just work down. I find it is easier to start at the wider end and then work to that little point. But got that corner up, and we'll just grab a paper towel, grab hold of that membrane, and should all just come off in one piece, hopefully. If it doesn't, you can just go back and pick off any bits that you didn't quite get. And if you don't want to pull the membrane off, it's not the end of the world. It's just gonna mean the meat's not gonna fall apart quite as easily. Now I'll take some of this fat off here. So again, this is that hard fat I was talking about. But that is looking pretty good. Nice and square. Not too much fat on there. And this thick bit here, that's alright. Now just to help this rub stick to the ribs, I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on. Just a little bit, and just rub it all over the ribs. And this will just help that rub stick to the ribs, and it will also help it cook. So on these ribs today, I'm going to use a bit of Raptor Naturals blazing Tex-Mex rub. Now this rub's a little bit hot and spicy. It's got smoked paprika, some Tex-Mex herbs and spices, and it's got a little bit of a medium hot sort of afterkick of chili in there. It's fantastic on grilled and barbecue beef, steak, chicken and pork. So I'm going to throw it on these ribs, just sprinkle it over evenly and give it a pat down, just to make sure that it's not going to fall off. And on the other side, we'll put a little bit of oil. Just a little bit. And we'll rub that across the top. And then again with that rub, sprinkle it over evenly, but put a good coating on there. Make sure you get everything. And give it another pat, push that rub in, and I'll do the other rack of ribs exactly the same. I'll do that off camera so you don't have to watch. But that looks about right, so we'll take it out to the grill. Okay, so I'm out here with the Charmate Lawson water smoker, and I've got it set up to 135 degrees, which is a little bit warmer than I usually do ribs at. I'm just doing them at 135 because I'm just trying to get them through a bit quicker, and they do still turn out really, really tender. So I've just gone ahead there and put on the first rack of ribs on that bottom rack of the smoker, and the other one on the top. Now I just put the lid on, open the vent, and I've got the bottom vent maintaining that 135 degrees. In the bottom here, I'm just going to put some hickory wood chips. Just put that straight onto the coals. And I might have to add more every half hour or so, but every half hour I'm going to be spritzing as well, so I'll just do it then. And now we'll just close it up. Alright, so as I say, every half hour I'll just open it up, tip off any fat that's come through, and give it a little spray with water just on those raised bits that are starting to dry out a bit. But that's looking pretty good, and I'll just do the same to the bottom one. Just open it up and tip that fat off. And then I'll just give it a spritz through the top here. And that's just to make sure that those raised bits aren't going to dry out. Alright, so it's about halfway through the cook now. It's been about 2 hours. And just tip a little bit of that fat off. But now I'm just going to put a sauce on. I've got this Lone Star rib sauce. Lone Star is a big Texas style restaurant here in New Zealand, and they've gone ahead and put some of their sauce into bottles and selling it off. So you can buy this at the Raptor Naturals website as well. But I'll just put that on there and just a little coating, because I'm just going to leave this in there for about half an hour just for that sauce to set. And we'll just brush it on, making sure it's nice and even. Get all the way across the ribs. Just being careful not to disturb that bark too much. Just want to spread the sauce and leave that bark alone. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. So I'll just do the bottom rack as well. And then we'll just close it up for half an hour. And let that sauce set. Okay, so it's been half an hour now. You can see that sauce has set on there, nice and sticky. So we'll wrap the ribs. And I've got here some just aluminium foil, tin foil, and I'll put more of that sauce on. Then I'll put the first rack straight on the tin foil on that sauce. And I'll get more of that water, give it a little spritz. So that's just going to put a bit more moisture into the tin foil packet. But more of the sauce. This sauce is really, really good. And I'll just brush that on as well. And then I'll wrap it up in the tin foil, making sure it's nice and tight. So we want to keep all that moisture and steam in the packet, because that's just going to make these ribs really, really tender. So we don't want to puncture it, like put any holes. Don't want to leave any gaps in the folds, but that's good. So we'll put that in the grill. I've done the same to the bottom one, and we'll leave it there for 2 hours. Alright, so it's now been total cook time of 4.5 hours, and we'll take this inside. Super hot. Alright, so we'll open this up carefully. Got the gloves on so I don't burn my hands. But look at that. That's looking real good. And that is super tender. Look at how that just folds. Man, that's going to be good. And I'll just open up this other packet as well. But these ribs are super tender. That sauce, really good. That meat's pulled away from the ends of the bones. I'll just slice a rib off, if I can find the gap. There we go. Just cut that rib out. A little bit hard to find the gap in between the bones sometimes. Probably cut a little bit too close there. But look at that. Oh man, that's good. That sauce is really sticky. Bones just pull out. Super clean. Look at that. Alright, so there you have it. Those ribs were really, really good. Nice and spicy. Just awesome. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and that way you won't miss out on any future videos, and we'll see you again next time.